The best.
Looking at it's also one of the few tracks you have a truck win there, correct?
Yeah, my first truck race was at Atlanta, and my first truck win was that very same race. So was a definite fun time back in the day. I want to say it was 2009. I don't remember exactly, maybe 9 or 10. But I drove a KHI truck for Kevin Harvick and was teammates with Hornaday. I think actually went on and won the championship. If it wasn't that year, it was the year before. And we had good stuff, but we put it all together that day. And to win in your first truck race was pretty cool.
Talking about heading back there, you ran, I believe, 13th there last year. I think it's been a little under a year since you guys were in Atlanta. And it's obviously a track where for a number of years, we went to a couple times and then only one time, and then we'll be back there 2 times this year. So, is that something you're looking forward to going there? I know it can be a little bit different when you go to the same track twice in 1 year. You're looking forward to making that trip twice this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year had lots of differences in it. For me, this would have been a race that, and I believe if I remember right, as I was going through all my medical stuff with the crash from Daytona, this was the race that started the end. I should say the beginning of the end, I guess, with the pandemic, right? So we were gonna go, then we decided not to go. Then we were gonna go on a different day, and we decided not to go. And then we had a big long break for whatever it was, month and a half, 2 months or whatever, and that allowed me time to heal. But this is one of the tracks that I was really going to be upset at if I missed last year. So everybody missed it last year, and to be able to get to go back twice this year is I guess just a small way of making up for it.
So as we said, one of Ryan's favorite tracks, they'll be racing there on Sunday at 3 p.m. That'll be on the Big Fox network. And again, Kohler generators on the car with that great looking paint scheme. We look forward to seeing that for the first time since Daytona.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Lopes. I'm the tire scientist on the 6. I've been in the sport longer than I care to remember. No, I'm kidding. This is my 27th season in Cup. This is my 4th with Roush.
Nate McGuire, tire specialist on the number 17 Cup car. This is my first year at Roush Fenway Racing.
My job at the track is strictly tires. I have very little time to help with the car under these rules and regulations that we're in and the schedule that we're on.
Sometimes on TV, you'll hear the fall off. The leaders were running a 2980. Now they're running a 31 flat, or and you can tell just by the driver's hands. A lot of times they'll zoom into the driver's hands coming off the corner, and they're working it, and their throttle trace. If they're babying it, getting back on the gas or not. And then you could also look at if the track's gaining rubber. If they'll talk about the track's gaining rubber, or it's not taking any rubber. A lot of times a cold track sometimes won't take as much rubber and stuff like that. So you just it's all temperature and race condition and track condition.
There's a few racetracks on the circuit right now in our series that we run that are very, I call them tire raiders. It's really weathered pavement. Older pavement tends to be a little rougher, a little more coarse, tends to be a little harder on tires. We just left one in Homestead. Homestead's very tough on tires. Atlanta's probably the toughest racetrack on tires. It is very old pavement. It was paved in '97, and it hasn't been paved since. They had scheduled to pave it, I want to say it was 2 years ago, and it was determined that would probably be a huge mistake just because the racing is so good there right now because there's so much tire fall off. And when I say tire fall off, I mean speeds of the race cars from the time they make their first lap on brand new tire stickers, and by the time they take them off, either 10 laps, 15, 20, or at the end of a fuel run, there's so much time fall off because the tires wear out so fast. And that is a big thing. It makes the racing it makes the racing better. It also, the drivers that are able to manage their equipment tend to perform better there because they can manage their tires. They're not trying to go run a qualifying fast lap early and burn their stuff up, and then they just fall back through the field because those tires fall off so much, so fast because of the abrasion of the pavement, that it's a tire management place, and it's hard on tires. And that's one of those tracks that we will go to, and you can come in for a pit stop, put tires on, and if the caution comes out 10 laps later, you'll come back and put 4 more tires on because it means that much. And like I said, the pavement's quite old. It wasn't, like I said, the last time it was paved was when the configuration there changed, because it used to be a true oval, and then it was turned into basically what they call a tri-oval, and that was in '97. And the reason I know all this is because I was there, not trying to give away anything, but I've been around a little bit. So that place, we will use a lot of tires there. I think as far as a count goes, an allotment from Goodyear, I think that is our highest count. I want to say 13 or 14 sets for a race.
A lot of the times when you, after a 30-lap run, let's say, at Atlanta versus, let's say, Las Vegas, the wear itself, like, it's smooth at like Vegas. You can almost kind of run your hand over it, and it just feels, it's been used, it's hot, it's grippy, but it's just kind of smooth overall. And I'm referring to like a right front, but like the right front at Atlanta, it'll be chunky and small pieces of rubber, just getting chewed away out of it by the abrasive racetrack.
Tire wear can tell you a lot about how your car's performing. It can tell you a lot about air pressure, too much, too little. It can tell you about it obviously tells you about your camber settings, whether you're over cambered or under cambered. If you wear that right front out to where you see the cores, you see the fabric, you might have a little too much camber. The other thing that goes hand in hand with the tire wear is tire temperature after a stop. Real hot inboard on the right front and very cold outboard means that you're probably over cambered and you're using the inside of that tire too much, and the wear will show that. But you're also looking at, all right, we're really wearing out the right front, like we're super tight, even though he's not saying that. So this is something we need to keep in mind as far as, maybe we should pit him, because at a place like Atlanta, and I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, a place like Atlanta, you will want tires before you run out of gas. You will not run till the tank's empty at Atlanta. You will come get tires early because you'll want tires before you're out of fuel. So if you start to see that you're wearing that right front out prematurely, you will back up your fuel stop. Instead of running to 10 laps before you're out of gas, you might come back to 15 laps before you're out of gas and bring them in 5 laps sooner, just to ensure that you're not going to hurt that tire to the point where it fails, puts you in the fence, and then you're on the truck, because then everybody stays wrong.
All right, joining us now, we have Scott Graves, crew chief of the number 6 Kohler Generators Mustang. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. We'll kick this off and just, I know Phoenix maybe didn't go quite the way you guys saw it going, but certainly going to a track in Atlanta where there's a lot of high hopes. How are you guys feeling headed into the race this weekend?
Yeah, for sure headed into Atlanta. Feel good because of the way Homestead went. And definitely see there's some similar characteristics with the tire fall off that we'll see there, and just the track surface itself. And then based on the way Homestead went, we're definitely optimistic that we can have a good rebound weekend here at Atlanta.
That's great. So what is it about Atlanta that makes it unique among the 1.5 mile tracks that it in the NASCAR circuit? Of course, got that old surface. Is that really the big differentiator here?
Yeah, I think it is. The The track surface, you get a lot of fall off with the tires because of that. It's just the old surface. It just wears the tires down quickly, and that suits us well. I think it suits Ryan well. It's a similar. There's just something that it's different because like most of the mile and a half we go to now that have been repaved, they have a harder tire, and I think it's a little harder for the drivers to sense when the car's on edge because it's more edgy. Where you get to these tracks with the older, rougher surfaces and you have the tire fall off, the drivers can feel the car slide more, and they can kind of sense what it's doing and be able to react to that a little bit better than some of these other tracks. And you're out of the throttle a lot more with all the fall off. You're just working the car a lot more, or you're able to work the car a lot more than some of the other mile and a half we go to now.
Right. So is it going to be the same tire that you guys ran at Homestead? Are there any differences there?
I guess it's similar. I mean, most of the constructions now have gone to a similar construction. It's generally just some compound changes that we're going to between the tracks. So like the Atlanta, the Homesteads, they'll have a little bit softer compound to go along with the track surface. And like I say, and then with the wear of the track itself and what it does to the tires, you just, like I say, you experience a lot more fall off than you do at the others.
Is this one of those races where you think you have an advantage having such a veteran driver like Ryan Newman, a guy who knows his way around Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Yeah, definitely. He's done well there for us, for sure. Last year, we had a decent race there. Struggled with the balance a little bit early on, not having the practice. It was one of our first races back after we had the shutdown for the pandemic, but he did well there. And similar, like I say, he did well at Homestead in the past for us, and then certainly this year, and then Atlanta in the past, he's done well. So certainly a track that I think just favors his driving, and definitely what he's able to give us for feedback and what we need to be able to do with the car. So yeah, I guess from that point, having his experience at a track like that, definitely it helps us out.
So taking from that great Homestead run where you guys finished 7th, but also your teammate Chris Buescher led a lot of laps up front. It was a great day for the whole program. What specifically are you taking from that? Do you take setup notes into Atlanta? Is it maybe a little bit more how you guys had played around with the package? What specifically are you going to take from that Homestead race into Atlanta this week?
I think primarily is the car. Obviously, we put a lot of work into the 550 program, the high downforce package. We put a lot of work into. So it's really taken a similar car to Atlanta that we took to Homestead. And then setup wise, it's a little different because the two tracks are different in terms of bank angle and how the corner flows and things like that. Atlanta's got a little bit more banking to it, and it also has some more roughness, like bumps, track content, things like that. So there might be some similarities to the setups, but we also have to account for the differences in travels that we're going to get because of the steeper banking and the bumps and things like that. So we have to tweak the setups a little bit to take that into account.
So with no practice, with no qualifying, is your job at getting the setup right harder at a track like Atlanta where it feels like there are more variables, more wear on the car?
Yeah, it's just in general, I wouldn't say even just Atlanta. It's everywhere. It's certainly more difficult in this style of racing. It's, I know in the past we always were able to use that practice time as a way to get our cars dialed in. We're able to go through practice, use Ryan's feedback, and get the car dialed in for where we need to be for the race. And that obviously that benefits everybody. But I know that it was something that was extremely important to us. So it's been hard for sure to show up. You think about it, you show up, there's no practice, and you just unload and go. It definitely makes things difficult. We unfortunately a lot of times we end up using the first stop or two almost as it's like your practice to get the car up to the balance it needs to be. So you kind of use that first competition caution we've been getting. You're throwing in a lot of adjustments there, and hopefully, between that one and by the end of the first stage, certainly you're trying to be close on balance and get it where it needs to be, so that you can get up there and race, competitively for the rest of the day.